One night, just one phone call, I threw away my entire life and got a leather jacket, a beaten kid, and an unscheduled biker war in return. I'm Lena, a waitress who was $40 short on rent, and I found a dying boy in the alley behind the diner. His phone had one emergency contact, Dad, Northern Guard MC. I'd worked 14 straight hours at the Rusty Spoke, grease under my nails that just wouldn't scrub out, no matter how hard I used that harsh yellow soap, you know the kind. My feet were screaming with every step, that deep, throbbing ache you get when you realize you haven't sat down for the entire shift. It was one of those miserable November nights. Linda's kid had the flu, so I covered her morning shift, then my own evening shift because rent was due in 3 days, and I was exactly $40 short. $40. It was such a small, pathetic number, but it felt like a mountain I couldn't climb, a constant, low-grade humiliation that just defined my life. I dragged the last bag of trash toward the dumpster way past midnight. The cold air bit at my cheeks, cold enough to see my breath, but not quite cold enough to freeze the puddles in the alley's cracked asphalt. The highway beyond the parking lot hummed with that constant, lonely sound of trucks rumbling past, their headlights cutting through the darkness like searchlights looking for something they'd already missed. I heaved the bag toward the dumpster, and that's when I saw him. A boy, just crumpled against the brick wall like a discarded coat. My heart jumped straight into my throat. "Hey," I called out, the trash bag forgotten. "Hey, are you okay?" No response. I moved closer, my worn-out sneakers splashing through a puddle. The kid looked young, maybe 16, 17 tops. His jeans were ripped at the knee, and his hoodie was pulled up tight over his head. But the thing that really made my stomach turn was his arm, twisted beneath him at an angle that looked just fundamentally wrong. "Can you hear me?" I knelt beside him, my hand hovering over his shoulder. I'd seen my share of passed-out drunks in my 3 years at the Spoke, but this felt different, darker. His face was too pale, almost translucent, and his lips were slightly blue. My fingers fumbled for his neck, pressing gently. There. A pulse. Weak, thin, barely there, but present. Okay, I muttered to myself, fumbling for my own phone. The logical thing, the normal thing, was 911. But the ambulance would take 20 minutes to get out here, maybe longer, way out on Route 47. And this kid didn't look like he had 20 minutes to spare. His own phone was half visible in his hoodie pocket, the screen cracked like a spider web. I pulled it out carefully. It was locked, but the emergency screen was accessible. Emergency contacts. Dad. Northern Guard MC. My hand froze right there. Northern Guard. I knew that name. Everyone within 50 miles of the highway knew that name. The motorcycle club that ran the back roads, the one with the reputation that made even the truckers nervous. Ruby, my manager, had explicitly warned me, "You see those patches? You keep your head down and pour their coffee fast." I knew this was trouble, the kind of trouble that eats waitresses alive. But this was a kid, a child who might be dying in a puddle. My thumb hovered, terrified they'd blame me, terrified of the consequences. And then the boy's breath hitched, shallow and desperate. That sound sealed it. I pressed call. The phone rang once, twice. On the third ring, a voice answered, rough as gravel, suspicious as a locked door. "Who is this?" My voice came out smaller than I intended. I found a boy. He's unconscious. His phone says you're his dad." Silence. Not the empty kind, the loaded kind. The kind that makes the hairs on your arms stand up and your blood turn to ice. "Where are you?" The man's voice had changed. Sharp now. Urgent. The Rusty Spoke diner. The alley behind. "Don't move him. Don't let anyone take him. I'm 10 minutes out. Stay with him." The line went dead. I draped my thin jacket over him, trying to keep him warm without moving him too much. "Your dad's coming," I whispered, though I didn't know if he could hear me. "Just hold on." I kept my fingers on his pulse, counting the beats, holding on to the thought that as long as I could feel them, he was still alive. Then I heard it. The deep, threatening roar of a powerful motorcycle, getting closer, louder. A single headlight swung into the alley, blinding me. The engine cut off, and in the sudden silence, heavy boots hit the pavement. The man who walked into the light looked exactly like what I had imagined, and nothing like it. He was massive, tall, broad shoulders wrapped in black leather, a salt and pepper beard, a nasty scar running across his face. But his eyes, they were the thing. Cold and grey as steel when they first locked onto me, but when they dropped to the boy on the ground, they broke. Fear. Raw, immediate, terrifying fear. Caleb. The name came out like a prayer, ragged and desperate. The man, Grizz, I assumed, dropped to his knees with a speed impossible for his size. His hands moved over Caleb's body, checking for injuries with a practiced, terrifying efficiency. "What happened?" he demanded, not looking at me. "I don't know," I stammered. "I found him like this. He's been unconscious." Grizz's jaw clenched, and he pulled out his own phone, dialing. "Hawk. Rusty Spoke Diner on 47. Run the cameras at the bus depot, the gas station, the warehouse district. Now. Because my son is lying in an alley, half dead, and someone's going to answer for it." My heart hammered. This was real. This was dangerous. This was exactly the kind of trouble I'd spent my whole life in foster care trying to avoid. Grizz ended the call and finally looked at me. "You called." I couldn't just leave him. Most people would have. Before I could respond, Caleb stirred. His eyes fluttered open, confused, terrified. They fixed on Grizz. "Dad," the word was slurred. They found me. They said. And he went limp again. "We need to get him to a hospital," I urged. Grizz scooped Caleb up like he weighed nothing. "County General. You're coming with me. You're the only witness. You're in this now whether you like it or not." I looked at the boy's pale face, at the desperation in Grizz's eyes, at my jacket clutched in my hands. I was $40 short on rent, but I'd made the call. "Okay," I said. "Let's go." At County General, I sat in that hard plastic chair, watching Grizz pace. He couldn't get information because he couldn't prove he was family. He'd only just found out Caleb existed. Then the doctor returned, listing the injuries: blunt force trauma, defensive bruising on his forearms, ligature marks on his wrists. Someone hurt him deliberately. Grizz was furious. Officer Chen, a cop who knew Grizz from a prior incident, helped verify his identity using Caleb's deceased mother's name. 45 minutes later, Grizz emerged, his eyes blazing. "He woke up for a minute," Grizz said, his voice rough. "Said 3 men grabbed him, asked if he was Ryder's kid. When he said yes, and now they think I have you." I laughed, sharp and bitter. "I poured your coffee, Grizz." "Doesn't matter what's true, Lena. Matters what they think. I can protect you, but you have to let me. Come with me." I stared at him. 24 hours ago, $40 was my biggest problem. Now, this. "One condition," I said. "You tell me everything. No more secrets." "Deal." In the Starlight Motel, Grizz confessed, the Northern Guard was founded by him and his brother, Jack, as a true brotherhood. But some members got greedy, forming the Red Talon. They killed Jack 5 years ago in a staged accident. Grizz worked with the DA, testified, and put 6 Talon members in prison, which is why Diego Reyes, the current leader, wants revenge. "Why are you helping?" Grizz asked, searching my eyes. I looked down. Because I grew up in 12 different foster homes. Because someone should have called for me once. And nobody did. Just then, Hawk texted, "Diego knows Caleb's location. The hospital isn't safe anymore. We had to go now." I grabbed my jacket. "I'm coming with you." "Lena, you said I'm matter to you. Then prove it. Don't lock me in a roach motel like I'm helpless. Let me help." Grizz stared, then nodded. "For what it's worth," he said quietly. "Someone should have called for you. You deserved better than what you got." My throat tightened. We headed out. We got Caleb out of the hospital with Hawk's help and hid in the condemned Northern Guard clubhouse. It was devastated, but invisible. Inside, Ghost and Finn, the remaining loyal brothers, told us the worst. Diego had offered a $50,000 bounty for Caleb and demanded Grizz rejoin the operation. "If I refuse," Grizz asked, "he kills the kid, makes me watch, then kills me." Then Hawk brought the last option. Pastor Mike had a plan involving the FBI and the one thing Grizz swore he'd never do, trusting the law. The next morning, driving toward Pastor Mike's chapel, the highway felt too empty. My gut screamed. At the last stop gas station, it happened. 2 black vans roared in. 6 red Talon members. Diego Reyes stepped out. Let the boy go, Ryder. Everything's between us now. I didn't think. I jumped into Ghost's sedan, jammed the key, and dived straight across the Viper's path to Caleb. Get in. I screamed. Caleb dove in just as bullets shattered the back windshield. I floored it, tires screaming, fishtailing onto the highway. The van pursued. I'd never driven so fast. I needed sirens. Then I saw them, 2 police cruisers approaching from the west. The van behind us braked hard, made a violent U-turn, and sped away. I pulled over, shaking. We were safe. I quickly gave a statement, and the police headed to the gas station. We got 3 Talon members in custody, but Diego escaped. You saved my son's life, Gris said over the phone. Again. At the chapel, Pastor Mike laid out the plan. Gris must wear a wire and record Diego's threats for the FBI to file a RICO case. Gris was enraged. Every time I trust the law, people I care about suffer. Then what's your plan? I yelled, standing up. Keep hiding. Watch Caleb look over his shoulder for the rest of his life. I understand that your pride matters more to you than your son's safety. The words hung like a slap. Then Caleb, his bruised face set, stood up. She's right, Dad. I've been listening to this code talk, but where was the code when they shot at Lena? My mom kept me away because she thought this life was poison. Maybe you can be different. Be the man she hoped you could become. Gris sank into his chair, a broken man. I don't know how to be a dad. I've already failed you. I knelt in front of him. You rode into an alley at midnight for a son you didn't know existed, I said softly. You chose him every single time. Now choose him again. Choose the hard right over the easy wrong. Gris looked at Caleb, and I saw the moment he broke. Okay, he breathed. We do this together. All of us. 6 weeks later, the FBI raids were swift. Gris evidence led to the arrest of Diego and 17 high-ranking Red Talon members. Today was the grand opening of Iron Road, fixes for families and riders, a legitimate repair garage. I was the project manager of our non-profit, Second Chance Riders, teaching mechanics to at-risk teens, with Caleb writing the curriculum. We are a family now. I live in the apartment above the office. Gris and Caleb live nearby. It's not perfect. Caleb still flinches, Gris still checks locks, but we are healing, together. As the garage filled with local families and the last loyal members of the Guard, now working as mentors, Gris stood beside me, watching Caleb laugh. You did good, I said. We did good, Gris corrected. None of this happens if you don't make that phone call. Caleb ran over, wedging himself between us. Group photo. For the website. We squeezed together, Gris' arm around Caleb, my hand on Caleb's back. All 3 of us grinning. In that captured moment, you could see it. 3 people who found each other in the darkness. 3 people who chose each other, again and again. We had built something beautiful from broken pieces. I was essential. I was home. But what if I hadn't picked up the phone that night? Does justice only arrive when someone is willing to break the rules, to do what the law couldn't, like Gris wearing a wire? Or was it Lena, the waitress, who taught a hardened biker the lesson of trust? What do you think? When justice is broken, should we choose loyalty to our community or the difficult path of trusting the law, even if it has betrayed us?